What up, Salvador Briggman here. Welcome back to the Crowdfunding Demystified YouTube channel. On this channel, we love to talk about crowdfunding, how you can raise money from the crowd, how you can actually cash in on this crowdfunding mania, and you can get people actually to support your cause. They can support your personal crowdfunding campaign. They can support your nonprofit organization, whatever it is that you're trying to raise money for. Hopefully you walk away from today's video with a little bit more clarity as to how to do that. So today I want to get into and just answering a question I've been getting more and more, which is what can you actually raise money for when it comes to doing a GoFundMe campaign? So I'm going to be talking about that on today's video. What the heck can you raise money for when it comes to doing a GoFundMe campaign? Hope that you enjoyed today's video, and it's coming up right after this. All right, guys, again, my name is Salvador Briggman, and welcome back to this YouTube channel. If you're enjoying some of my other content, give me a thumbs up on this video so that people know that it's worth their time. And if you are a newcomer, I put out tons of videos out there on crowdfunding. So I believe I started this YouTube channel maybe around 2016, but I've been in the industry since 2012. I have a blog, crowdcrux.com. I also regularly bring people on my podcast, which I launched in 2015. People that are real world success stories that are raising money every single week using this mechanism, which is crowdfunding, which is really just democratizing the way in which we can raise funds. So today I want to talk about GoFundMe, which is definitely, I'd say, one of the biggest crowdfunding websites that are out there, and a website you can use to actually raise money for many different types of causes under the sun. So let's kind of get into that. So first of all, I would say that a lot of these are kind of lumped into the personal cause category. So there are three major categories. One would be personal causes, one are nonprofit organizations, which I also say like larger causes in that way. And the third would be people that are raising money for business related reasons on GoFundMe. So I would kind of lump it into those three categories. So you're either raising money for a personal cause of some kind, you're raising money for more charitable, a big cause, a nonprofit organization, something like that. Maybe you're a verified 501c3 nonprofit organization, you're trying to raise money using online fundraising. And lastly, if you are a business owner that's out there, you're trying to jumpstart a new business, you're trying to become an entrepreneur, you're trying to become a girl boss, you're trying to become a king of an empire, right? When it comes to having an online business, that is kind of the third reason I would say when it comes to raising money on GoFundMe. So I'm going to start with the personal cause side of GoFundMe, right? So when it comes to personal causes, we see a lot of different campaigns when it comes to raising money for volunteer effort, raising money for education costs, raising money for medical bills and medical expenses, raising money when it comes to memorial funds or funeral expenses in that way. I've also seen many campaigns, many people out there raising money for things like youth sports. And there's just so many different types of fundraisers that are out there. I'd say another big one are animal related expenses or pet related campaigns. So trying to raise money in order to help a pet in some way. So there are many different types of projects, but I would say those are major categories or subcategories when it comes to the personal cause crowdfunding segment of GoFundMe. So if you fall into any of those categories or any of those minor categories, even like travel related costs and that kind of stuff, you can raise money using a personal crowdfunding campaign on GoFundMe. Now, I would say that GoFundMe is extremely broad when it comes to the types of campaigns which it allows. It also allows like political campaigns that we have seen on GoFundMe as well. So there are a lot of ones that are kind of like a little bit dicey in the gray area, but I'd say for the majority of people out there, you can raise money. If you're falling into more of the political category, I have covered some different campaigns that are out there that have gotten taken down, right? On GoFundMe, you have to go to other platforms. It's really going to depend on sort of the intention behind that campaign and also whether or not it's aligned with the actual values, right, of the particular platform. But I say for the vast majority of people, if you're doing a personal crowdfunding campaign, it's kind of going to fall into one of those categories. Like I said, medical bills, medical expenses, funeral or memorial costs, pets or animals, volunteer, travel, education costs, a lot of different reasons why you might be raising money under those different categories. So the second segment, like I mentioned, is nonprofit organizations. And nonprofit organizations, by their very nature, are raising money and kind of are there to solve problems that for-profit companies and the governments are not currently solving in society. So that could be things, for example, like hunger and homelessness, or particular medical issues that are extremely widespread, right? Raising money to forward research for particular medical cases, etc. There's so many different types of nonprofit organizations, even helping kids when it comes to teaching them about STEM, right? Science, mathematics, like all that kind of stuff. Raising money in different ways when it comes to organizations that are helping with homelessness, right? So there are many different ways in which a nonprofit organization can operate. I'd say one of the big keys is that they typically are not, or they're problems that are being solved not by governments, not by corporations. It's an NGO, a non-governmental organization, right, in its very name. When it comes to this, the ways that nonprofit are typically using GoFundMe are a little bit different than other kinds of platforms. So you're using what's called more traditional traditional crowdfunding when you're doing a GoFundMe raise. So by that, there's some kind of a goal which you're trying to raise money for. So maybe that's for a particular cause, maybe that's for an event which you're putting on, which is actually raising money in some way. It could be for a particular beneficiary, so a member of the community that you notice is in particular need, and the nonprofit decides to step in and raise money for that particular organization. It's much more of what I call the traditional model when it comes to crowdfunding. There are other models as well, for example, peer-to-peer fundraising, and there are other websites out there which you can use as a nonprofit organization in order to actually raise money with that tool. So if you want to learn more about that, I have a great book out there called Nonprofit Crowdfunding Explained, which I will link up down below. This book goes really through the bread and butter of how to raise money for a nonprofit using crowdfunding, the different forms of crowdfunding that are out there. So if you want to learn more about that, you can learn more about that in the description. But as long as you are raising money for a particular cause, as long as it's going to those people, and it usually is going to fall into many different general categories, I'd say, when you're raising money for a charitable or a nonprofit organization. Want to take all the stress out of fulfilling your Kickstarter rewards? Fulfillrite is the turnkey solution that puts product delivery on autopilot. The Top Campaigns uses trusted high-tech provider to store, package, and ship their products. Focus on growing your business. Leave shipping to the experts. Don't wait. Get a custom quote from Fulfillrite today. Link in the description. The third type is more business or for-profit, right? So this is kind of a different, category, I'd say, a different animal when it comes to GoFundMe. And that's because there are also other platforms as well to raise money when you are a business. And I talk about that a ton on this channel. So businesses out there, they're just trying to jumpstart. It could be, for example, a minority. It could be someone who's doing a particular offbeat style of business that's not very common in that particular area. And they have extremely high startup costs. They have costs that are difficult when it comes to actually, getting this actual business started. So particularly if they're doing some kind of a business, there may be also, for example, a business which was already in operation and was doing super well, and then maybe the restaurant actually burned down in a massive fire or something like that, or there was like an arson, right, and someone actually lit fire to this business, or it was in some way damaged, right, when it came to protests or something like that, right? So there's maybe something that also happened to an existing business, and that's the reason that they're going to GoFundMe. So typically, I'd say when it comes to common events, there's typically some kind of a major event which happens in the life of the business owner or in the life of the business, which they really just couldn't plan for. They couldn't get insurance for, obviously. And thus they reach out to the community and they're like, hey, can you guys help us so we can get this back on our feet? And that way we can continue to serve the community. Or if it's an upstart business owner, again, it's usually falling into more of the minority or in some way disadvantaged category. And there's a particular reason behind people donating to that business as opposed to maybe just like wanting to invest or wanting to buy the products, right, in that way. As long as you fall into one of these massive categories, you can raise money on GoFundMe. So I would say it's extremely democratic. There are certain countries which you can learn more about on their website in terms of, and also in terms of age limit and how the whole process works. I have a whole tutorial out there as well on GoFundMe, which you can check out on my YouTube channel. If you do want to get more deliberate about this, if you really want to kind of boil this down to more of a scientific process, I have two great resources that I want to share with you today. The first is that for people out there that are ready to really take this seriously, like you actually want to raise funds and you're not going to spend the next year of your life kind of hunting around online, trying to figure out how to do this, wasting tons of your time, tons of your money. And you're like, you know what? I just want the templates. I want the blueprint. I want the paint by numbers formula to actually raise money from the crowd using a website like GoFundMe. For those people out there that fall into that camp and you're also ready to make an investment, I have a great program out there called the GoFundMe Cash Machine, which is really just years and years of information, of knowledge, of techniques that work, of tricks which you can use in order to actually get people to donate to your campaign, as well as templates, all the things that you need when it comes to actually getting people to take action, getting people to show up to your campaign, actually be interested in actually donating to your project, and you then smashing through your goals when it comes to GoFundMe. So do not take this lightly. This is definitely a system which is quite powerful and it's designed to get a particular result. So if you're interested in that, you can go check out the GoFundMe Cash Machine down below. In addition, if you're just kind of scraping the surface, you're like, Sal, I just kind of want to learn a little bit more, right? Like, tell me just a little bit more about how this whole process works. Go and check out my free course out there on GoFundMe, which I will also link up down below. This free course is designed to just get you primed, get you more informed, right? Get you a little bit more up to speed when it comes to raising money online, which is a little bit different than doing it in person or doing more of a grassroots effort. This is really taking all of that online so that way you can reach a huge base of people, a massive audience which is out there. You also have the tools to compete with other people out there that are trying to get their attention. So you want to check out that, go check out that free course down below. But I hope that this answered your question. And just to kind of recap, this is an extremely broad base of customers, which can actually go out there and can raise money from GoFundMe using GoFundMe. And it also is obviously free to be able to do that when it comes to launching a GoFundMe campaign. So this is actually something that's, to me, available to many, many different types of people, but that also means there's a lot of competition. So the more that you study the tried and true, the more that you study the techniques that go into a campaign, the actual strategy, you think about this, you put this together, you stand a much better chance of being successful when it actually is so easy to launch a campaign, because again, so many people are doing it. So I hope you enjoyed today's video. Again, my name is Salvador Briggman. If you did enjoy today's video, come subscribe to this content. You'll get more content every single week that I'm putting out there for you guys. I'm working really hard to put out a lot of content this year. In addition, give me a thumbs up if you did like this video, because that means that other people will see that and they'll be like, oh, this is a useful video. So give me a thumbs up, kind of like a nice way to tip me if you did enjoy today's video. And lastly, share this with someone who you think would really benefit from this message, right? You think would need to hear this or be, find it beneficial or be useful or effective for them. Thank you so much. Again, my name is Salvador Briggman, and I will see you next time.